Winsor Newton Cotman Watercolours are one of my most used coloring/painting products. And in this video, I'm going to swatch the palette that I have, and then I will do a simple painting and give you my thoughts on this palette. So this is the palette I have. Winsor & Newton has all kinds of watercolor palettes, and I have the one with 16 half pans. There was a brush included when I got it, and when I was recently looking up this palette online, they seem to also include a pencil and an eraser. Also, this palette comes with a white paint, and I swapped it for Hooker's Green. I wanted to put a white back, but I don't know where I put it. So let's start swatching. This is the order I put together, not as I got it. The first color I have here is the cadmium yellow pale hue. The second color is cadmium yellow hue. After that is yellow ochre. Then we have burnt sienna and burnt amber. Next, there are the reds. The first one is cadmium red pale hue. This is definitely not my favorite red. It's more orangey. Actually, I always thought it's orange until I read the name. Next is the opposite. We have my most used paint in this set, which is cadmium red deep hue. The reason why it's most used is because of Christmas cards. It's really nice red and I really enjoy using it. And the last paint in this row is alizarin crimson hue. In the next row, we have the color Purple Lake. And after that is ultramarine and cobalt blue hue. To me, at least in this swatch, they look the same. The next color is turquoise, and after that we have viridian hue. The turquoise I think is supposed to be the cool blue, and ultramarine supposed to be the warm blue. Then there is the color sap green, and then I have the color Hooker's Green, which I replaced instead of the white. And the last paint is Payne's Gray. So that's the swatch. When I looked at this palette online, in some shops the palette had different yellows and blues, but for the most part they are the same. Now let me share my opinions about this palette while I'm painting. I decided to paint a sunflower because I'm ready for warmer weather, at least a few degrees above freezing, which I don't think will happen anytime soon. So at least a little bit of sunshine this way. And if you have any questions about the painting or want me to do a separate video, let me know. But next week I will have a blog post talking about the painting. After I release it, I will include the link in the description of this video as well. And also I will have a question for you at the end. I just need help with the decision making. Alright, let's talk about these paints. Just so you know, these are the only student paints I have. I have never tried any other similar paints from other brands. Neither I have tried professional paints. I only tried Japanese watercolors or very cheap watercolors. The thing is, I have never felt the need to try any other similar paints from other brands. I've been using these paints for the past 10 years and I don't have any complaints. I'm very happy with them, I really enjoy painting with them, and I highly recommend them, especially for beginners. This palette is actually meant for students. It comes with warm and cool primary colors, which are great to learn mixing your colors. Then it has the typical 4, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, burnt amber and Payne's Gray, and then some additional colors. And with these paints, you can mix all kinds of other colors. These colors are pretty much your basics. There is nothing you cannot do with this set that you can do with other sets. I would probably swap some of the colors, but that is just a personal preference. I think especially the cools in the primary colors are not cool enough, in my opinion. But if you asked me a half a year ago, I would be also swapping the Viridian. I would be telling you I do not understand why this color is in this set. But recently I've been using it together, I think with burnt amber to mix a really nice green to paint pine trees, and I really like it now. And that's why I don't want to criticize the color selection much, as it is really just a personal preference. As I said, this is a great basic or starter watercolor palette. Of course, there are some negative Nancy's that don't like this palette for some reason. In my opinion, the best palette is the one you can easily buy and is in your budget. What I like about Winsor & Newton, and I should have said it earlier, this video is not sponsored. I bought this palette with my own money 10 years ago and I've been using it of my own will. So what I like about Winsor & Newton is that it's not only available online, but you can also walk into most or at least many art or craft stores and get it there, at least here in Europe. And the Cotman series especially are good quality student paints and not that pricey, which is something that a lot of beginners are looking for. Of course, if you have the money, buy the professional paints. There is no rule that you have to start with student paints, but if you are on a budget or don't feel spending a lot of money yet, the Cotman series are a great choice. And there is nothing wrong with leveling up and upgrading your paints. Actually, that's my plan. Every time I will finish a paint, I replace it with its professional equivalent, which I already started doing. As you saw, I already ran out of the Cadmium Red Deep, and I bought the one from Winsor & Newton Professional series. I also bought a few additional colors, which I wanted to add into my collection. Fun fact, I bought them 2 years ago. I haven't used them yet, because I am in no rush. Also, what I actually regret a little bit is not buying the biggest, I think 45 paint palette from Winsor & Newton instead of my Koretake Gonzaitambi watercolors. Back then, I did not know that Japanese watercolors are different to Western watercolors. I like to have a palette with multiple colors because sometimes I don't feel like mixing colors, and I always grab the Gonzaitambi palette, and I wish it was the Winsor & Newton. Since I'm about to finish the painting, my last words about this palette and Winsor & Newton Cotman in general is I have nothing to moan about and would highly recommend them, especially to beginners and those who are on a tighter budget but still want to have good paints. As I said earlier, I need help with the decision making. The sunflower I painted here is okay. I struggled a bit with the petals, especially creating definition and separation, and I also changed brushes after the first set of petals from size 8 to size 6. But in the end, I'm quite happy. This was my second attempt in painting the sunflower, and here is my first one. And that's where I need your help. My husband likes it, but I think the petals blend together way too much. And I thought using a black fine liner and outlining the petals and the whole flower and adding details would help the look. Something like I did here. Let me know what you think. Shall I leave it as it is or use a black fine liner? If you would like to see more videos with me using the Winsor & Newton watercolor paints, here are 4 examples I picked that you can check out. They will be also linked in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.